bit about Ringcentral. Ringcentral's been around for over 20 years. We provide phone systems and contact centre solutions in the cloud. For those who don't know us, we've been for the last 7 years leaders in the Gartner's Magic Quadrant. And from an Australian perspective, we've been here now for over 4 years.
Yep, absolutely.
What makes Ringcentral different is that we have an all-encompassing app. So we've got an application that's for your mobile, software for your desktop or Mac, as well as being able to work on a handset. So Ringcentral does message, video and phone via an all-encompassing app. It allows you to keep your business persona in regards to your business identity, your number, rather than allowing your staff using their mobile numbers, which are numbers that your customers will be aware of.
Awesome. So as Melina mentioned, we kind of have one application that does everything, but overall it's a cloud platform. So everything's in the cloud, there's nothing on premise, no hardware, no software, no virtual machines. And we also have the carrier service also plugged into it, which takes that complexity out for you guys as customers, and Ringcentral does all of that in the cloud for you.
So Ringcentral is the one vendor relationship. We are the phone system, we are your carrier, which alleviates the need for Telstra, Vocus, Optus, etc. Ringcentral will be the all-encompassing relationship you would have.
Awesome. Excellent. All right, so this kind of slide depicts what our journey is, I guess, today when we wake up all the way till when we go to sleep. And I'm really bad. I have a bad habit of waking up first thing in the morning and touching my phone, and then going to bed at night and really falling asleep as I'm flicking through my phone and looking at all the messages and emails that come through. But ultimately, Ringcentral provides you with the capability to form those bad habits if you want to, or to try and kick those bad habits if you want to. Ringcentral gives you that platform because you have access on the mobile to messaging, to video, to telephony, to call Melina first thing in the morning about an upcoming presentation like I did this morning. You're able to do all of that through Ringcentral anywhere in the world, on any device, whether it's on your laptop or your mobile phone, or through an integration that we'll talk about later today.
Thanks, Riaz. Next, we're going to go through the 5 trends that business, IT, decision makers look at when making decisions for technology. The first one is working from anywhere. 20% of staff, thanks to COVID, want to work from home. They don't want to go back to the office. And then the 80% that do want to go back to the office, they're looking at 1 to 2 days a week. Now, this is affecting businesses in regards to ensuring they've got the right technologies in places to allow for this, as well as Riaz, for example. I love working from home.
Yeah, I will take any opportunity I can to work from the office because I've got 2 young kids that I really need to get away from. So any opportunity I can to see adults and chat to adults, I'll take. Whether it's Melina or anyone else, that's okay.
Yeah, so that's the first one. Secondly, the second persona, second trend, is a mobile phone. Well, Ringcentral's mandate has always been, we're a software company, we make our technology, and we've always made it based on the mobile app. So all the features on our mobile app is then able to obviously be replicated on your laptop or desktop, etc. But it's all about being able to do everything via the mobile app, not call forwarding to a mobile.
Yeah, so that's kind of different, right? Lots of customers these days, if they have an on-prem PBX, that now have been forced to work from home, have been call forwarding to their mobile phone, and you kind of lose visibility as an organisation as to what people are doing. But that's a second-hand thing. You lose visibility in terms of what customers are calling you, how often they're calling you, what kind of information flows throughout the organisation, or whether it's going directly to an employee's personal mobile phone. And the ability to have that on an app that's trackable, that provides you with rich analytics, provides you with call recordings, but ultimately gives your customer a single business identity that you're using to contact them, whether it's through your mobile phone first thing in the morning, or whether it's following up with emails or a video chat or a video conference call later on in the day.
A lot of businesses that have struggled, or businesses that we talk to every day, struggle having their staff not work in the office, especially owners of businesses, because they don't feel that staff will work as diligently from home as they would in the office. This allows business owners and management to be able to see. You see how many calls I've made, how many calls I've received, how many video calls I've had, not to mention my conversations, my chat messages. Believe it or not, I do have a very high volume of calls.
I believe that.
Yeah, and not to personal friends, business calls. But it's really good to get that visibility as a business, because that's probably one of the biggest issues companies have with allowing their staff not to work from home. So that full visibility is obtained here. Thank you. The third trend, integrations. We were talking about this a bit earlier. So customers don't live in the Ringcentral app, they live in their CRM packages, for example, Salesforce, Zendesk.
Yeah, so let me give you an example. I guess organizations today don't just want an integration and kind of scope that up per se. They kind of expect it these days. So they're looking for a cloud-to-cloud integration between a Ringcentral or their PBX with all of the other cloud apps that they've got today, whether it's Google, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Salesforce. So an example of that is, I might be somebody that lives in Salesforce every day and talks to lots and lots of different customers. Most of the time, I don't know who it is that's calling in. And what Ringcentral can provide is an out-of-the-box integration with a CRM like Salesforce, where we can embed our dialer straight into your Salesforce screen. So as you do receive phone calls, you can now greet the customer by name, because we get a live name to caller ID match inside of the CRM for you, and then provide a really good customer service experience, because we can see all the open opportunities or cases or events that have occurred with this particular customer and start to preempt what the conversation might be about. But it also gives you the opportunity to automatically log that information back into the CRM to create that single source of truth and that single data repository about the customer, so that when other people in the organization do look up that customer, they know how many times they've called in, what they might have said, what their inquiries were about, and ultimately also have the ability to listen back to those call recordings right there and then through the integration. And these are out of the box with Ringcentral. You don't need to scope them up. We don't need to build them with professional services. You can sign up online with Ringcentral and start to use these with your CRM package of choice. And we have over 300 integrations available that are available on our app gallery right now.
Thank you. So we have got an open platform, right? So APIs. Next slide. Microsoft, necessary evil. So with Microsoft, obviously through the pandemic, a lot of customers have had to implement or use the collaboration and video for Teams. Other customers are using multiple products, using Teams, using Zoom, they're using WebEx, and using different solutions to sort of put a band-aid solution to what they require for people to be working from home for their staff. With Ringcentral, with our open APIs, we've got some really good and tight integration with Microsoft and with Microsoft Teams, which allows you from a user perspective to utilise the user experience of Teams, but then leverage the sophistication of the Ringcentral solution underneath for the voice platform.
Yeah, awesome. So, I mean, just an example of the multiple customers that we've spoken to at the booth already today. Firstly, not many people know who Ringcentral are, and no, we're not a doorbell company. We are a cloud UCaaS company.
We are not a doorbell company, but we do integrate with doorbells.
We do. That's right, Mel. But then further to that, you don't have to use the Ringcentral app. You don't have to deploy a new app and push that out to your user base and put up with app overload. You can continue to use Microsoft Teams if that's where you're chatting today and video conferencing today and using your SharePoint and doing all of that inside of Teams. With Ringcentral underneath, we can also present those phone calls to you natively inside of Microsoft Teams, whether that's on your desktop or on your mobile phone, so that you can wake up first thing in the morning and answer that Teams call from Melina, or decline it if you want to. But it's all available for you with those out-of-the-box integrations with Ringcentral. So again, no scoping, no professional services. It's all done out of the box, and we have actually a couple of different types of Teams, direct routing, and native dialer solutions available. So whatever fits your use case, you can definitely do. But more importantly, it allows you to mix and match. So not only do the group of users that want to live in that particular app, are they able to do that, but the rest of the organization can still do what they need to do. So you might need a PA system or an overhead paging system integration. We can do that with Ringcentral. You need classroom phones or common area phones or a kitchen phone. We can absolutely do that too. Or if you've got that employee that just really loves to slam the phone down in anger and that's how they get through the grieving process, then we can support physical phones on our platform as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Riaz. Fourth case is our ability of being able to allow you to self-manage our solutions. So our admin portal for users is very easy to use for you to be able to manage on your own. You can add numbers, you can add staff, you can add handsets. So Riaz starts an organisation today, you can just add Riaz, send the phone pre-configured and ready to roll, sent to his house, you can plug it in and it'll work straight away. So it's all about one simple touch and
Yeah, so lots of, I guess, IT decision makers kind of expect that an enterprise grade system is going to integrate with your Active Directory for automatic provisioning, for example, that it supports things like single sign-on, which we'll talk about in the next slide, whether it allows me to easily add a user or change a name because their last name has changed because they've got married or something like that. The Ringcentral administration portal lets you do that, and the Ringcentral admin portal is the best place for you to be able to manage all of that and connect it all together. It's very simple, very easy, and you can delegate access to site-based administrators or localized administrators because it gives you that flexibility. Overall, I guess over and above all of that, you get the visibility in terms of analytics, and then you absolutely get a billing portal that allows you to break things down into cost centers if you might want to do that as well.
as part of our admin portal, we also have quality of service. So a lot of customers are always concerned about having a solution like ours, which is over the internet. How can we guarantee our call quality? Firstly, me working from home, I tend to walk my dog quite often, and when I do, I'll be using my mobile app. I'll be leaving the house, and sometimes I forget. And throughout the call, it'll move from the wireless, from my home internet to my data on my mobile. So it'll be a second or two when it transitions across. So you can easily see that in the call quality area of the portal, in the quality of service you're able to see. If you were to get a user complaining about call quality, you can go to the user, see the call they're complaining about, you can actually see what happened on that call. You'll be able to see it was Melina moving out of the home internet onto my mobile app.
Awesome. I think we'll have some time for a demonstration after this. I'll show you guys exactly what that looks like.
Awesome. And finally, thank you, this is all about security. With the pandemic that we've had, security breaches has been happening all over the shop, as we all know. With Ringcentral, we do have a fully encrypted solution in regards to, we've got a team, a fraud team of 70 people to ensure that we don't have any breaches that won't be on our platform. And we also have reliability.
Yep. So we've got a global network operations center that looks after Ringcentral's global operations. We've also got a global security operations center that looks at all the different security threats that come through on the system. We've got all the ISO accreditations. They're available for prospective customers as well as our existing customers. Things like yearly pen test results can also be accessed through the Ringcentral platform. So your data is absolutely safe. With us, we've got data localization here in Australia, so your data is effectively here and not moved overseas as well. So, you know, we take security very seriously at Ringcentral, and we've got all the accreditations to show for it.
Okay. Just before we get to the demo, just to remind you all, Ringcentral's an all-encompassing app. Okay, so you can do all of chat, video, and phone through one app. Okay.
All right, let's do a really quick demo. So we've got about 10 minutes, and I'll try not to bore you in that 10 minutes. And there's a couple of things that I want to show you today. So first and foremost, the way that we'll kind of break down today is I'll show you what the Ringcentral app looks like. And we can have a look a little bit about the end user experience. We'll see how we go with connecting my phone. My Mac sometimes doesn't like to play with my mobile phone, but we'll see how we go with that. Then I'll show you maybe one or two examples of the administration portal, what we can do for moves, adds, and changes, nice and easy on the system. And then finally, we'll have a look at maybe those quasi examples that Melina spoke about earlier. So first and foremost, let's go and have a look at the Ringcentral application. And we've spoken about it quite a lot, but this is the Ringcentral app, as you can see here. So we do three main things: message, video, phone, MVP, as part of our application. And you can see that you have complete ability to do one-to-one chats and group chats. We can create a video conference at any point in time and start or schedule it or join from this as well. It integrates into your Google calendars and your Office 365 calendars also. And then finally, you get a complete soft phone, all available through Ringcentral. So I can navigate over to the top right-hand corner here. And if I want to change the number that I want to use to call my customer, it's a simple drop-down menu that makes it nice and easy to choose my site-based number or an interstate number or even an international number as my caller ID simply by hitting that number and calling my customer. So that's the Ringcentral application. You'll also notice down the bottom here, I've got Microsoft Teams. And to be honest, Melina, it's probably 80% of the conversations that we have with customers today about what we do with Teams. And it looks like it's just loading now. Awesome. And through Ringcentral's direct routing solution, that means that you're going to be able to use Teams as you are today. but also be able to navigate down into the native calls tab, as you can see here, and you'll be provided with a native Microsoft Teams dial pad. Now that's your number that comes across from Ringcentral, so it's not two different solutions pieced together, it's all Ringcentral underneath. And that means that you can type out the number and call your customers purely through Microsoft Teams. So I'll dial that number now, and as you can see, it's a Teams native calling experience. My speakers are muted, thank God for that. And as I answer that call on my mobile, I'll be able to transfer, conference, and do everything that I need to inside of Microsoft Teams. Now, as I mentioned, you're also able to use physical phones, all types of different analog devices if you wanted to as well. So we've got a solution or a persona or a use case available for everybody within your organization. One of the things that I did want to show you on our admin portal was how easy it was, how easy it is to administer everything. So this, if you've never seen it before, is the Ringcentral admin portal, completely web-based, accessible on your mobile phone as well, and you're going to be able to do everything that you need to simply from here. Now, a common example of a task that an IT decision maker will just assume is easy is the ability to do moves, adds, and changes. Now, let's say, for example, we've got an organization here that's deployed, this is day 50, and they now have a new starter. So it's really easy to do on the Ringcentral platform. There's a couple of steps. Usually I need to buy a license, and I need to do that somewhere. There's probably some sort of purchase order thing that I've got to go through internally, but ultimately I need to create a license for this user. And doing that through Ringcentral, all of the e-commerce is just built in here. So whether that's a user in Australia or overseas, like the UK or the USA, it's a completely self-service wizard operation. Now I'll just choose Australia as the example here, and it'll ask me for some very, very basic information, such as first name, surname, email address. Now, naturally, Ringcentral can do cost center billing, and we can choose one of those. We can do site-based configurations and have a common config across all of your different sites. So we'll choose that. We can purchase a phone. One thing Ringcentral does really, really well is the ability to provide hardware as a service. So you can rent phones from us or buy phones from us. And let's just quickly do that. I'm going to go through the purchase phone option and just choose a Cisco 8861. Now it'll come up with all the different options there for me to purchase or rent, and ultimately will then ask me for a delivery address. And that means you don't need to bring it back to your head office, configure it, and ship it back out. It comes completely provisioned, so you can ship it directly to the end user, and it'll also come with a power pack. So even if they don't have a PoE switch, they can plug it into their NBN router with a power pack, and off they go. So fill out all of that information, and then finally choose a number. Now, whether you've ported in your numbers or you just want a new number, you can come into the system here and say, I think I need a New South Wales number and I haven't got any at the moment, so I'll just choose Dural here, for example, buy a new number. It'll come up with all of my pricing right there and then, and I can press next and finish, and that will provision the license for me in under 2 minutes and have a new user operational, which makes it really, really simple, really easy. And then on top of that, you can do automatic provisioning to automatically add users from your Active Directory if you really wanted to as well. So that's one example. The last thing that I want to show you is the rich analytics that Ringcentral provides. So 2 examples that I want to give you here. First and foremost, now that we've invested in Ringcentral, how do I know how many phone calls I'm actually making? What's happening here? And it looks like my browser is going to let me down, so maybe let's quickly refresh that page and see what comes up. And that's not going to work. Let's kill the app. Let's try again. Cool. Let's go over to performance reports. And it's going to let us down. Awesome. Let me take you to my demo one instead, which has probably a whole bunch more zeros, but will still let us see some information in here. So I'm going to take you over on the left-hand side to my performance reports area, which is where I can see what's happened. Now, naturally, yesterday I haven't made any phone calls. It was a public holiday. So let's go over the last month. Let's have a look at how many phone calls we made. We had 56 calls last month. Here are all the common KPIs that we track. So we track these on a per hour basis, and a per day basis, and a per week basis for you as well. And then we can finally break down all the different queue data that we have available too. So last month, our IT support line had 10 inbound phone calls, 10 were answered. We had an average handle time of a minute, and then we can further customize these KPIs. So it's really easy to get rich data out of the platform. The last example that I want to give you is our quality of service dashboard. Now this is today, we've only made one call today, so let's go and choose a nice big date range here to see if we can get some good examples. 97% of all calls have been great on the Ringcentral platform. We provide this information and break it down in terms of the different ISPs that you're using, so Telstra, Optus, Vocus, whatever it might be, what kind of endpoint you're using, whether it's a Ringcentral soft phone, whether you're using it on your mobile phone or your laptop, for example. And if you were using it on your mobile phone, were you connected to Wi-Fi at the time, and did you go out to start walking the dog and lose that Wi-Fi connectivity and switch over to 4G, for example? And that's what might have caused some quality issues for you. So we can now jump in here and start to figure out exactly what's going on for each of these phone calls. So here's a call between the PSTN and Leslie, so a customer call inbound to Leslie, and we can see here that Leslie's connection was actually not that great. She had 13% packet loss, and we know that this person is in Sydney, was connected to Aussie Broadband at the time, was connected to the mobile phone app here, running an iPhone 13 on iOS version 15.4, and gives us all of that visibility right there and then. But the real power in this dashboard is in the ability to develop a trend for Leslie over 7 days or over 30 days, and really have that power to figure out exactly whether Leslie makes lots of calls or a small amount of calls, correlate that down into the different endpoints she uses and the different ISPs she uses to spot that trend and make that troubleshooting process a lot easier than just flying blind and hoping to get the best out of the system. I hope that was informative for you guys. That was a really quick demo, but if you guys do want to follow up with some more information, we're at the booth, and you guys can always contact us, myself or Melina directly. But thank you very much.